Hi, you guys. Welcome to SPtv Never Ends. My name is Kelly. I go by Artsy Tartsy sometimes in the chats. And my disclaimer is I have a front tooth missing. I'm going to the dentist on Monday. So hopefully by next week I will have this problem solved. I try to kind of cover it up with my microphone because it's quite embarrassing. Nobody likes to go around looking like a snaggletooth. But I want to welcome the more recent viewers of SPtv and the SPtv community of creators, YouTubers, whatever they're called. We all appreciate you guys. We need every single person, voice, protester, we need as many people in this community as we can get. That's for sure. The more, the better to take down this terrible cult. And I've spent the last 2 days reviewing videos, and there are so many channels that have videos. I went back about 5, sometimes 6 months, trying to get a timeline so I would be accurate in what I'm talking about. And it just got to be, there's so much information out there that I threw in the towel, because to do it the right way, to where I have links to everything that I'm going to talk about and stuff like that, I could have spent a week doing that. So I decided that I'm just going to give a rough timeline, so people who weren't around at the time when controversy started and when there was a split in the community, for those people who weren't around when it happened, I'm hoping what the timeline I give you might help clear up some questions that you have about whose side is this and what did they do and when did that happen and all that. So it's going to be pretty brief, but I'll do the best I can. And please give me grace and mercy. I don't have exact dates, and if I get something, like if I say it happened in November but it was really December, just forgive me for that. I'm not trying to be perfect here by any means. So from my memory, I think it was around this past November. Well, let me start by saying first, the Danny Masterson trial was going on, and Aaron Smith 11 wasn't as a big supporter of the Jane Does and the victims of Danny Masterson, and he was in court a lot in Los Angeles. And I think about not long before November, protesters started showing up at the Scientology testing center in Hollywood, and William Goo, Jessica Palmadessa, Confident Chris Without a Hellcat, and then Danny and Leah showed up a little bit after that, and LA Cam. Anyway, they were showing up every day, and they didn't know each other, but they would show up at the testing center, and they were protesting while the Danny Masterson case was finishing up. So Aaron Smith Levin was traveling to LA a lot, like I said, and I guess when he was there at sentencing or for the verdict or something, anyway, some girl wiggled her way into his life, and he invited her back to his hotel room. Um, a fight happened, or not really a fight. He wanted her to leave. She wouldn't leave, and so she started wrecking his room. Somehow he got a bad cut on his foot, and yada yada yada. So this bad scene happened, and now this girl never filed a police report. No charges were ever brought. And the board members of the Aftermath Foundation, which Aaron was, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was the president. Him and another guy founded the Aftermath Foundation, and but Aaron was still, the other guy got kind of booted off, and he left on his own, but Aaron was still there. And because one reason that there's the board members at the Aftermath started getting disgruntled was because of Aaron's private life, which has nothing to do with, the board at the Aftermath Foundation, or really, Aaron's private life is his private life. Well, one time when he was in LA, and I'm talking about Mike Rinder and his wife Chrissy, Claire Headley, Mark Headley, Amy Scobie, Matt Pesh, and I think those were the only other members besides Aaron and Louise. I'm not sure how to say his name. But anyway, Aaron was out of town when they decided to write up an ethics, a paper on ethics, that how they expected their board members to act. You know how Scientology is all about ethics, and they get audited and called out all the time. Well, it's kind of along those lines. Sounds real familiar with what Scientology does. These ex-Scientologists adopt the same kind of thing without Aaron even knowing. So Aaron gets back from LA, and I guess Mike Rinder and the rest wanted Aaron Smith Levin to step down, or they wanted to kick him out, or I don't know how all that happened. Aaron tells this whole story on Rabbit. If you know the channel Down the Rabbit Hole News, he goes on there and tells the whole story. He gets brutally honest. He tells about the girl that he was with, he talks about all his indiscretions. He apologizes. He's very truthful and very vulnerable, and tells the whole story of how this all happened. So, long story short, Aaron gets kicked off of the board at the Aftermath Foundation, and it had to be very hurtful to him because he was one of the co-founders of it, and now he's not even part of it. But he was a big boy and never said anything bad about any of the board members, but he set the story straight, because at about the same time Aaron was telling the facts of this story, I think the day before he went on Down the Rabbit Hole News channel, Mike Rinder, Claire Headley, and Mark Headley did a live, and they were just not very nice. Let me put it that way. They were not very nice, talking about Aaron. They weren't kind to him at all, and they weren't kind to the viewers that supported Aaron. Mike Rinder was very nasty, From my memory, I was offended by what he had to say. I can't even tell you what he said, but I know that I got so offended because I saw such a narcissist come out that night that I wanted to vomit. I have lived through narcissistic abuse, and I know what it is when I see it. So let me tell you, I unsubscribed from all 3 of their channels and never looked back. I have not seen one video or gone to one of their channels since then. I think maybe one time real quick for something, but I've never watched them or listened to them again. You know, they, as far as I was concerned, and as far as a lot of people were concerned, we just left them behind. You know, God bless them. You do what you want. I'm not going to watch you anymore. And a lot of people left those people. Well, oh, and let me tell you, Mike Render that same night started calling supporters of Aaron keyboard warriors in a derogatory way. He was calling us names, just like a kindergartner. Yep, calling people that had donated to the Aftermath Foundation, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he's going to start calling us names. I thought it was very pathetic and disgusting. Okay, so there's a split. Now, Render can't shut up, though. Render was out to destroy Aaron Smith Levin. He's very jealous of him. Mike Render has a way of lying to the world. I mean, every time he says something, posts something, writes something, it's very Scientology-like. People think he is still in Scientology. I think there's a big chance that he is. I'm telling you, he still uses their tactics against people. He lies. He has never held himself accountable for the crimes he committed while he was in the Sea Org. He was head of the Office of Special Affairs for, I think, 28 years. I could have the number of years wrong, but for a long time. And he committed a lot of crimes, which a lot of us think that he should be arrested for, tried, and if found guilty, he should be serving a prison sentence. Anyway, so Render's very, very jealous of Aaron Smith Levin. And the SPtv community, I want to let y'all know we are not organized. It's not like there's a leader. There is not. We don't have places where we meet. We don't have times that we don't even have meetings. So, of course, we don't have times where we meet. Even the protesters, they are not organized. They show up when and where they want without telling the other protesters, you know. Everything is very unorganized, but it all falls together beautifully, especially because there's so many of us. We don't have any dues or fines, and we don't print out any propaganda to hand out. We don't have any kind of bylaws or rules. No one tells anybody else what to do. We're a very well-behaved bunch for the most part, and very supportive of each other. And we have one cause. We're here to take down the Church of Scientology and hold the abusers accountable. The abusers that committed crimes, hold them accountable. Render continues to throw mud after this and work behind the scenes. He bashes SPtv. He bashes the protesters. He just not a nice guy. He doesn't like the SPtv community. I guess because he's not part of it. I don't know. So Not too long after that, Miriam, she's an ex-Scientologist who experienced SA from her father, which Scientology covered up, and which um, Mike Rinder was a part of. He knew all about this case way back in the day, and he was head of OSA, of course. He knew what was going on. But all of a sudden, he's going to claim to not know anything. Um, Miriam's case was on the desk of the district attorneys in LA. She was waiting for an answer to find out if they were going to prosecute. They had all the information from her, and they had the police had done all their investigations, and she was just waiting to get word. Finally, after years and years, she thought finally she was going to see her father brought to justice. Well, while all this was going on, Mitch Brisker had kind of come onto the scene, but he was kind of in the background. His channel never really took off. His attitude and demeanor were not real easy for a lot of people to understand. He's very he has very high opinions of himself, and some of the things he says are snarky, and he's just all about Mitch, and so a lot of people don't care for him. But that's neither here nor there. He did have a little tiff with Aaron Smith Levin, of course, and he posted some very ugly things about Jenna and Aaron. I'm sure you'll come across that. Supposedly he has apologized. But anyway, so that was kind of going on. Miriam was waiting for her case to be handled, and she needed something, an affidavit that Mike Rinder had said that he knew about. And long story short, Mike Rinder never turned that over, and as a matter of fact, he got very ugly to Miriam, so wouldn't answer her calls, accused her of some stuff, and Miriam reached out to Rabbit at Down the Rabbit Hole news channel, and she helped her by emailing Mike Rinder and asking some very straightforward but important questions, trying to intervene for Miriam. Well, that blew up into this big old brouhaha. Mike Rinder and the Aftermath Foundation hired an attorney who sent a letter to Rabbit and calling her, and we weren't sure who it was directed at the time. We have since learned that it was directed at Rabbit, but a lot of us think that the name calling was directed at the SPtv community also. The lawyer said that, quote, he included a quote in the letter saying, "People who lie down with dogs wake up with fleas." So here's Mike Rinder being a kindergartner again, calling people names. It's just so disgustingly ridiculous. And so let's see. Mike Rinder did not like the fact that Miriam was involving other people, and she was supposed to get monetary help from the Aftermath Foundation for some therapy that she needs or needed, and they decided not to give her that. Mike Rinder ends up posting a 100-page blog. It wasn't 100 pages, but it was this big old long blog It was a dead agent pack, which is something Scientology does. Nora does a good job explaining this if you go back and watch her video. In his blog, he ended up doxing Miriam. He put up her whole police report and didn't leave anything out, didn't redact anything. Scientology got a hold of it, and a week later, the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office informs her that they are not going to try her case and they're finished with it. Yep. And so that was heartbreaking. Now, this was Rinder's doing. He made sure that Miriam wasn't going to get her trial. He made sure Scientology had all the information they needed so they could make their defense, and they succeeded. Stephanie and someone else were appointed to the Aftermath Foundation board around this time, and she starts writing her blogs, which are just horrible, horrendous, attacking Aaron Smith Leving, spewing lies and hate, and they are just, I did some reaction videos y'all should watch because I go into detail there. Anyway, yeah, so she attacks protesters, Aaron Smith Levin, and other people. We always answer back and set the story straight. We never attack first. It's always either Mike Rinder or Stephanie Hutchinson who do that. Stephanie and another lady that works at the Aftermath Foundation, they troll the chats all the time. Anyway, Stephanie ends up posting, I think, counting one from yesterday or the day before, a total of 4 blogs that are just horrible, just disgusting, and attacking all kinds of people. And but my point here is that I want to tell you guys is I have turned it into a us and them thing because I don't know what else to call it. The Aftermath Foundation board members, and more specifically Mike Rinder and Stephanie Hutchinson, are on a mission to cause war, cause separation, cause trouble, stir up hate, and to destroy the SPtv community and try to destroy the work that we're doing. Now, the protesters have successfully gotten the testing center closed down. They're on their way to getting the La Poubelle restaurant closed down. They're doing wonderful work all across the country. Things are starting to happen. And we have these 2 thorns in our side. Mike Rinder and Stephanie Hutchinson. And the other Aftermath board members. They're on Rinder's side too. Yeah. But they're not as vocal most of the time. Anyway, and then there was this whole brouhaha last week with Mitch, and another girl that Aaron Smith Levin was dating came on and attacked him, told all kinds of lies. Mitch called her up and became besties with her overnight. He went on to her channel where they attacked Aaron Smith Levin and other people. I guess that got straightened out yesterday, kind of. A little bit got straightened out when Mitch and Nora went on together. And then the latest Mike Render thing is, he's on the board of Child USA. Once again, what the hell's he doing on any board having to do with children? He was so involved in committing crimes against children when he was in Scientology. But he managed to keep information from the board members, and a very important court date went by, and it was not met, and the people that were suing Scientology didn't get their paperwork in time, and Mike Render knew that date was coming and failed to clue people in, and he sat quietly withholding information, which is so disgusting. And no wonder so many people think he is still in cahoots with Scientology. It's because the things he does help Scientology. It doesn't hurt them. The things he does absolutely 100% helps Scientology and hurts the people that are against Scientology. Please remember this. Please don't be fooled by the trolls and by Mike Render and by Stephanie Hutchison. Please, we need your voice in the SPtv community to help us take down this horrible cult. And we're all nice. We all have the same mission. And you'll notice that we don't attack first. That we never throw the first punch. It's the Render camp that does that. But we do answer back, which might sound like an attack. I answer back. So, anyway, I hope that helps a little bit. It sounded kind of long-winded to me. If you have any questions, you can always put it in the comments. I read every comment and I answer every comment, and my email is in my channel notes. And now I'm going to make a video answering back to Stephanie Hutchison's last vlog, which I think was put out 2 or 3 days ago, and it's not very nice. I do not sugarcoat things. I think it's my age. I didn't get this old for nothing. I'm old as dirt and I speak truth and do not sugarcoat anything. Anyway, I'm going to go get my tooth fixed next time you see me. After this next video, hopefully I'll have a pretty smile. See you next time. Bye.